started in 1992 in Sharonville, Ohio, a suburb of Cincinnati. Started about 8 people. And what we did was really take in water and wastewater, leachate a lot of it from landfills. And we were able to use a process, chemical process, and heat process to clean that water. And found out during that time that a lot of the leachate each time when we saw it was getting worse, and getting worse, and getting worse. And one of the main products we saw in it were petroleum, coolants, and other polymers that companies, especially large automobile manufacturers, steel companies, aluminum companies, were taken to the landfill. So what they would do is the liquid waste would go to the landfill. The landfill would solidify it. I'm sorry. I thought everybody could hear me. Can you hear me? Is that better? Okay. I won't go back and reiterate that part, but what we found was there was the metals and the petroleum leachate that we saw kept going up. So we looked at an opportunity that if we could go straight to the companies that were sending that to the landfill, take that the footprint out of the landfill, we could repurpose most of that petroleum. So we developed a process that we could take the water that was going to a landfill, and instead of having a landfill local around here or in your community anywhere, now, as soon as it rains, it percolates through that. If anybody's ever seen what a landfill looks like underneath, it looks like a big piece of shit. And it's 500 million to 2 million gallons of contaminated water. So that water has to go somewhere. A lot of times it goes right back to your local POTW, which is your sewage treatment center, and you pay for that to be cleaned. So we were able to separate that and pull the oil off, clean the water to city standards, and send the water back to the local facility. So as that process went along, instead of just getting that water from the landfill and cleaning it, we went to the company, whether it was Toyota, Honda, said, if you don't send this to the landfill, send it directly as a liquid product to us, we can clean this. It keeps the landfill clean. We're able to repurpose the oil, and we took it from there. As that process developed, we expanded and had an oil facility. And the oil that we reclaimed was barged to Houston and then sold to Central and South America, what they call a 6-oil or a cutter stock or a fuel oil. And it's a clean burning fuel that would normally go right back into the ground. So as we started to expand, we opened another facility in Burlington, Kentucky, and in St. Louis, Kansas City, Nitro, West Virginia, Huntington, Virginia, Huntsville, Alabama, and then we have 6 facilities in Texas, 2 in Pennsylvania, 2 in Maryland, and our latest project was Memphis. And when we did the research for Memphis, one of the biggest reasons is there's a lot of industry here, but one of the biggest benefits of that industry being here are all the petroleum that still goes into your landfills. So we're able to take that instead of going there and process it there. So it does 2 things. It keeps the landfills clean, and we're able to process it and sell it to companies in South America. And you know, it's a process that's clean. We have 0, or I won't say 0, maybe a 1% footprint back into the landfill. What would somebody send for us about 1.5 million gallons of water, oily waste to the landfill? We'll send back maybe 10,000, 12,000 gallons a month. The rest of it is reclaimed, cleaned, and then repurposed for that oil. So here in Memphis, especially in the northern part of Mississippi, western Tennessee, eastern Arkansas, there's an inordinate amount of landfills here. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, there's rural areas that you can put those in. The other one is, it's just what's been happening for so long. So when we look at some of the water that came from those landfills, you know, the levels of lead, cadmium, arsenic, nickel, all those levels are in those landfills. And once they're in there, it's almost impossible to get out. So we're able to take that, clean it, but more importantly, go straight to the source and get it before it goes to the landfill. So another process that we did there was also we had what's called our product destruction division, which there will take waste products from car manufacturers, body shops, process. One of our largest is shock absorbers. Shock absorbers used to be taken to a landfill, special waste landfill, put there. The rubber leaks, the oil, reclaim that, take the hydraulic fluid out of it, reclaim the rubber, chop it up, goes to high schools for tracks, and then the metals sent back to a metal company. So the whole purpose is really as much, get everybody's footprint out in landfills as we possibly can. So our facility here, just like all of us, starts with about 8 to 10 employees. And with that, by this time next year, we should have 40. And those 40, most of them will be drivers. We'll have probably 25 truck drivers, which, is, they're well-paying jobs. Also within our facilities, we'll have 12 to 15 people within the facility. Again, very high-paying jobs. So most of the time, when Dr. Vaughn called me, that was one of the things that we had an issue with here, was trying to find people to come in and interview with us. So that's one of the opportunities there that we'd like to be able to reach out and see and talk to folks that are out here, like an intern program, especially local high schools. We look at people in the environmental industry is going up, but it's going up for government work. And when the government goes there, those young people are hard to find. For us, they can come and work with us, but they're still working with the government. So we've talked in Huntsville, we do with University of Huntsville, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, University of Alabama, Birmingham. Okay. We're located on 415 East Brooks Road. It used to be River City Recyclers. And that's another thing. Whenever we go to a city, we're going to go in and build. We'll find an area that needs some revitalization. So that was basically a scrapyard. So when we went there, it had what you call phase one. We had to do a phase one, look at the land. When we found that, there was cars buried there. There was a lot of car parts. So all that's been done and taken that. So that's where we're at. Any other questions? Excuse me? Okay. Car parts, yes. On that, and we have the development of each of our facilities grows at it. We start with woolly water, and then we'll go into different ones, whether it's waste drums, waste totes, and then into the product destruction. One of the basic projects with tires, and I can look and see, I'll even put my cars before I leave. Most of the time, there's going to be a manufacturer around here that will come pick those tires up for free. And there's regulations on tires. They have to be covered. You can't have water in it. They're a huge breeding ground for mosquitoes. So somebody will come take those. 9 times out of 10, it's going to go to a company that will manufacture local tracks, flooring, steel roofing. So those companies are out there. Am I familiar with one here in Tennessee? I'm not yet. But if you like to, I need myself, when you call me, I'll find them. If there's somebody who will come pick those up, we can definitely do that. We can broker that without a problem.
So it's just really, around, I'm constantly on going on Chevy Town site, putting in, and then somebody come pick these tires up, one time I was in the neighborhood, they won't, they're not gonna call me.
One of the biggest problems with people picking tires, there are regulations for storage. They have to be dry, they have to be enclosed, and they have to be picked up in a certain period of time because there is breakdown, there's petroleum in the tire, and also, like I said, there's moisture, it's a huge breeding ground for an insect. So a lot of people don't want to pick them up because there's regulations to store.
Well, regulations or whatever, I just want to continue put it on 311 along the Chevy County site. That on my street, somebody put a tire down. I went down there and got anything.
Those are either going to give you recycled or they go to a special waste landfill to be disposed of, which most special waste landfills don't want to take tires. Yeah, and like I said, call me. I'll be able to find somebody, probably be able to handle it. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am? Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Jeff Alcorn, and Jeff Alcorn, and Alcorn Environmental. Yeah, and I'm the Southeast General Manager, so I have a facility in Huntsville, Memphis, and Atlanta, and also Charlotte, North Carolina. Our water, once it's sent back to your local POTW, it's water that would be evaporated or contaminated, but instead we send it back to the city. The city's able to clean it to drinking standards. We clean it to their standards for what they call pre-treatment water. Water that we clean would be clean enough to put back in the river, but we send it back to the city so they can clean it for drinking water. It takes out a huge process to then clean it. There's one in West Memphis, Arkansas, that's similar to what we do, but they don't have a similar permit. There's a smaller POTW, which is your sewer department in West Memphis, so they can't do the volume, nor they just really do, they'll recycle the oil, but they're not really doing anything with cleaning water. Yeah, we'll have between 35 to 45, just depending on growth. And like I said, most of those will be driver positions. But what we call operators, which in our facility they actually learn to clean the oil in the water. Also operators to load their trucks, unload their trucks. Like I said, we started with the same number in Huntsville 4 years ago, 6 people. Now we have 39 there. Should get to 60 by the end of this year. So. Absolutely. And more importantly, you know, we would like to have everywhere we go, and we look as a company. Our top 16, let's say, middle management or executives are all in their 50s, and we know that we have to get younger and be able to train those people and move on. And that's one of the projects that we started in Houston area and also our Dallas area, and they're what we want to do here. So the young men that I have working for me right now, or working with me right now, are all 24 to 27. Now that doesn't exclude anybody. You know, it's not that we want to do that, but it's one of those things where if we can bring a young person in, whether it's out of technical school, out of high school, and they can stay with us 20 years, that's what we want to do. Yep.
You mentioned, how long have you been doing this?
Here in Memphis?
Yes.
We actually opened last June.
Well, my concern is, if you just got here, what was happening to this before you came?
To the oil, the water, most of that,
Right.
a lot of it was still going back to the landfill. Some of it was going to get sent to LES, which is another company in southern part of Mississippi. Actually, and I'll be honest with you, there was probably 14 companies that were actually coming to us in Huntsville, Alabama. So, you know, you're having some of your jobs and that all going there. So, most of it was going out of state. Nothing was really done here except for the one company that is in West Memphis, Arkansas.
We have a situation with Memphis like has the water and an aquifer regarding arsenic in our drinking water. That's a concern. And then I'm hearing what you're saying about you picking all of this up. That causes concern of what's being left,
And what do you mean being left?
of what's not being picked up. Now, I know every company that qualifies for this is not getting it.
What's not coming to us?
Right.
What's not coming to us is going really to a couple of different places. It's either going out of state, or it's going back to the landfill to be solidified and put back there. So where all that waste is going is one of the reasons we're here. It is beneficial to us, but it's also beneficial to everybody here for us to be able to clean that and it takes some of the burden off the city. Our permit through the city of Memphis is as strict as it would be for anybody going to the like as stormwater, basically. So, it's where the other waste is going, we just continue to find out as we're here and do that. So, would we like all of it to come? Sure. Is that reasonable? No. Some companies are still going to continue to send it to landfills and do that.
Like we need to look at some legislation.
We don't do drinking water. So all what we call pre-treatment water, but I'm not familiar enough with artesian water, and you know, everything we do is contaminated water for us to be able to extract anything bad out of that. So that's how much I would give an educated answer to. Any other questions? And the last thing, at the end of June, we'll probably have our second job fair. And anybody here, if you'd like to come tour the facility, take a look and see what we do. There's certain restrictions where we go to certain part, not. But if you don't mind wearing a hard hat and a vest and walking through, I have no problem with anybody that would like to come see the facility. It's 415 East Brooks Road. There's ICD Chemicals across the street and the soap company. It used to be River City, used to be a recycling or a scrap yard. Looks like you have a question. No? You're just thoughtful. Look like you had another question. Okay. And like I said, if anybody'd like to come by, sit down, talk, please feel free to do it.
What's your name?
It's Jeff Alcorn.
Jim Howell.
Jeff Alcorn. Yeah, and I'll hand you, there's cards and some brochures in the back as well. I'm going to the job fair at the end of June. Well, thanks for letting me take up some of your time. And again, if you have any questions, if you'd like to stop by, please do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I move into the next portion, I'd like to recognize Millennia Housing Management. For those of you who were here in March, you know, we invited them to that meeting for April. I think it was April, okay? March was our first meeting. So because Mr. Wickerly, who is a VP, is here, I would like to ask you if you would give us a few words about your vision for Gospel Gardens and whatever you like to do. Alan Wickerly.
Thank you. As far as our efforts here in the city of Memphis with Gospel Gardens, it's very similar to what the ownership that I work for now, this is my 15th year, has done across about 28 different states. So our model of our growth is really taking an acquisition, and most of the time it is an affordable housing acquisition, and preserving it for the future needs. So it's not uncommon that what you see happening here at Gospel Gardens, we have many other properties throughout the country that we've been doing this with. There's a lot of challenges to it. It's not easy. It's very difficult. You know, we're Tampa, and I said Tampa's the regional manager in the Memphis area here. We work with the operations side of the business, and pretty much people that are elsewhere work with the whole plan, development, financing, and everything that goes into it before we take over and basically work with it day to day. So I guess I would just say, you know, enjoy what you see happening in the backyard over here with Gospel Gardens. You'll see a transformation, probably that you haven't seen in that area for a long time. And it'll be put into a manner of preservation such that it'll accommodate and serve people that need it the most. So, meanwhile, Doctor, thank you for the invite.
The regional manager is also here. Of course, she was here in April. Okay, Gospel Gardens is the former Two-Lane Apartments. I want to make sure that everybody is aware of the facility that we're referring to. It's now under new management, and it's coming back as what we needed to come back, a decent, clean, nice place for lower income as well as average income people to live and call home. So we're very excited that they chose that particular property to develop. And Ms. Williams, if you'd like to give us a little spill on just the size apartments, the rentals, or what's available for people, and you can stay seated if you want to stay seated. You don't have to get up, but there might be somebody in here who knows somebody that needs a place.
Good afternoon, my name is Tamara Williams. Like Alan just stated, that we are revitalizing the old two-lane, in which will consist of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartment homes. I don't think we quite got the rate yet, so that happened, started, but we are accepting applications. Right now, it's not having a leasing office. We are formally accepting applications at Memphis Towers, which is on 1081 Port Street, and we do that Wednesday through Fridays from 10 to 5. And on some Saturdays, we also do it on Saturdays as well. I think the time is 10 to 4 on Saturdays at the same location. So we're accepting applications, and I think the projected date will be sometime in late June, early July for the first set of apartments, which will be 3 bedrooms. So if you know anyone that is needing a place, you want to have of course you do have to qualify. Well, we are making sure that our screening process is different. We are taking pride in the multi-million-dollar project that is about to undergo. So we don't want it to become an old two-lane. So the manager that was here last month, she was raised in two-lane, so she knows how it was when it was a good two-lane. And she is making a vow to keep it good, and just making sure that we follow the rules, the residents are following the rules and regulations. And if you are not following the rules and regulations, you won't be living it. So the process, the screening process, we're going to continue with it to make sure that none of the old element that was once there is coming back. So we're going to work real hard with that. It's what the owner wanted to name. So all of the properties, I think that's here is kind of, not biblical, but yes, up in that term that would suffice. It's no. Yes. Any issues, because everyone that is on board, myself and Alan, we know the importance of the revitalization of the property, and we are going to be committed for it not to go back to being an old two-lane. We're going to work hard, and like I said, Dana, which is the property manager, she was there when it was good, and she is so excited, and she wants to maintain what was once there. We understand the importance of the revitalization, and sitting on that corner. At one point, I was raised in Whitehaven, and I didn't live there, but I remember it being nice. So we just wanted to sit on that corner and make it that nice, in affordable housing. I'm somebody out there on Chandler Jackson. So, right. So, what we are about to embark upon, we will make sure we get in with the local police department. They will have Skycop, we will have security there. We will go to the monthly police meetings to be involved in any issues that we have, we'll address it. It's about the best that I can tell you that we're going to do. We're going to put our best foot forward to maintain the property. I mean, our owner's vision, we are not taking it lightly, because his vision is just because you're less fortunate, you have to live less fortunate. And so we all understand his value and goals, and that's what we work on.
Did the owner receive any kind of incentive powers or anything to acquire the property?
I don't know the logistics of that part of it, but we do know that it once was a HUD property, and of course the previous owner lost the HUD subsidy on it. So that's how it's still being able to be presented as affordable housing. So I'm quite sure it's some incentives, but do I know the gist of it? No, ma'am.
Okay, and then my other question, how many people will you all be employed on the property? Are you all able to create a job?
It will be two office staff, and if I'm not mistaken, it will be two outside, one maintenance and one person who keeps the ground up. I mean, it looks larger than what it is. So of course, you know, when you are doing reorganization of departments, you have a budget, and so we want to make sure we stay within our budget and not have overkill. But everybody that will be working there is on the same page so far.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
So it's still a good property,
Yes.
and how many people actually live in it?
Well, it's 200 units.
It's still two.
Of course, you know, like I said, we got 1, 2, and 3 bedroom. And 4 is okay? No. Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. So whatever the demographics of that is.
What's the maximum number? Two in a one bedroom, how many in a two bedroom, how many in a three bedroom?
Well, one, you can have 1 to 2 people. And of course, 2 bedrooms, is depending on the children's age, can be up to 3. And then in your 3 bedroom, here again, depending on the kid's age, you can have up to 6.
So those statistics can kind of grow.
And like I said, we will be monitoring all applications and screening them, because we have a screening process that we have to go through that is, it's pretty strenuous, you know, so it's not like Dana can just move somebody in that she knows. It's a process that has to go to our corporate office and has to come back, you know, they have to approve each person, so they have to be in compliance, whether it be the credit, the background, the job, you know. So we don't have that right to just move any and everybody in. We have to go through the screening process.
And is there a source for neighbors of people who live around the properties for them to have an idea of their rights? For instance, when you have houses that you know are good properties, and people living there who won't pay their rent, they're not supposed to be living there. What is your resource for?
Well, the only resource you really have is just monitoring your property, knowing who lives there. You know, when they come in and sign the lease, you get to know whoever's staying there. And if it's a mother with 2 kids, you know, you pay attention. I mean, call in a work order, maintenance go there, it's got there. You know, so our maintenance team will also be working with us to help monitor the situation. Go there and guy there smoking weed all day. And our maintenance guy will be trained to let us know so we can act upon what we need to do on our end. So it's not only just me, the manager, but the entire staff working together to keep Gospel Garden being Gospel Garden.
So that's my next question, where I was really trying to find out, is there a number of access, like you call, if you want or code enforcement?
You can always call, you can always call THDA, I mean, I don't know the number right now, but you can Google THDA, it'll give you a number. Any other questions?
Is there a different approach to the structural side of buildings than the previous one that we were doing, windows and sliding doors and triple lining and that kind of thing, just from a structural standpoint?
Well, the existing building will still stand. All the windows will, energy efficient windows are being installed. The carpet on the inside, of course, will be gutted out, so all of that is being new appliances, new cabinetry, new sheetrock, flooring. I mean, it's a really, really nice, it's gonna be really, really nice. And when we have our grand opening, we would love for anyone to come tour the facility. Like we have one, everybody remember the old Two-Wheel Village, which is going through a major rehab, which the name is called Capitol Reports. So if you ever on North Hollywood and you wanted to get a glimpse of what the new Gospel Garden will be, you can always come and go in the office, and one of the office staff will be more than happy to let you see one of the renovated units. Right now we have one that's available to show, so you can see what Gospel Garden will be looking like in the future. Yes, ma'am.
I think that's a good idea what you all are doing and naming it. And in Whitehaven especially. So we just we'll wait to see how it works and we'll be proud of it. So it sounds good that we'll do something different and to improve that area.
And we appreciate all the prayers, I mean, because you all know we'll be up against a huge challenge to keep it decent. I mean, we all know everybody stay in Whitehaven, the same river route stay in Whitehaven, we're gonna try to come back. So we're making a commitment to not go back that way. Any other questions? No? Hello? Turn it back out.
Thank you, thank you. And to the defense of Gospel Gardens, I'm not from Memphis, but two things. I remember the old Lamont Garden. And I remember when I was going to Lamont College back in the 2000s, I had a classmate who lived there. You could not go in her apartment without taking your shoes off at the door. So when they say they have strict guidelines, if you want to stay there, you're going to follow those guidelines or you're going to get put out. And that's what I see, and that's what I hear, and that's what I believe is going to happen. So, and number two, as the former editor of the Whitehaven Appeal, there is only one part of 38109 that is Whitehaven, and that is across from Gospel Gardens. Those 4 or 5 little streets, Grenada, those were the subdivision, and I got people from there in here, where the slaves lived, who worked for the individuals who resided on Whitehaven Lane. That is the only part of 38109 that is Whitehaven. So do not call anybody on Neely Road a Whitehaven resident in my presence, because I will correct you. Now, getting on, we've got a few minutes left. It's 7:02. We have a battle on our hands with Waste Connections. This Canadian company is attempting to expand in our neighbors' backyards with garbage. They're a waste transfer facility. They bring waste in, not from the city of Memphis, but from Shelby County. And they compact that waste, and then they take it out to landfills. And as Jeff Alport said, There are numerous landfills in Tennessee because it's a rural area and it's a lot of empty land. Well, we don't want this in a residential area. And we are asking you, I'm going to ask the pastor of this church to supply transportation for people. We need to fill City Hall next Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. in support of this company not being allowed to expand. Now, what Valacor is doing is beneficial. Cleaning up dirty water. That's beneficial. That's a good company. What Waste Connections is doing is not. And that's why I said not so good. Because we have neighbors who are dying from cancer, who have died from cancer. Can we put a finger on it and say it's because of Waste Connections? No, but there is literature that lends support to that fact. And it's always in certain communities. And it wouldn't matter to me what community it was in. It's a matter of what's right and what's not right. And this is not right to put this in a residential area. So any support, we were asking people, you might have seen the sign, the banner from McCorkle Road at Fairfield when you turned off Shelby Drive. That'll be back on McCorkle Road tomorrow. I had it moved especially for today. It will be back on McCorkle Road at Graves Elementary School tomorrow. We have additional banners going up, reminding people Tuesday, May 21st, 3:30 p.m. City Hall. They're in the mail on the way to us now, UPS. They will be going up. We need people down there. We've got media coverage. They're interested in knowing how this thing turns out.